Hello, lovely people of the internet. I am Damien Geppetto. Welcome to the dark side. Today we're going to cover one of the most overlooked aspects of Magic the Gathering, when to take a mulligan in Arena. While it may seem straightforward, it's actually a fight between math and your emotional instincts. We'll provide a simple strategy for you and also some in-game examples to explain the simple math. Expect your mind to be blown. So sit back, fix a stiff drink, and be prepared to be scolded. All face the conundrum of whether or not to spin the shuffle wheel on a daily basis. Shuffler is designed to avoid taking mulligans. They call it smoothing, even if it's done by grouping the cards together. Don't sell me chunky peanut butter and call it smooth! That being said, it behooves you to toss away your opening hand more often than you already do. The top players are there because they know when to mulligan. This video will give you some tangible steps to improve your gameplay. Please be aware, this is just a basic guide. Each specific deck will need minor tweaks to the general strategy. Start using your big brain and stop praying to the RNG gods for good draws. The RNG gods are cruel, heartless beings made of ones and zeros. They do not deserve our worship. But on the other hand, I am someone worthy of your fealty. You can show your subservience by subscribing to this channel and liking this video. If you are extra special, toss a comment below about how amazing or stupid I am. Either one will suffice. Your opinion matters to the algorithm. I don't really care, but I do read the comments. If you're looking for tips about building a better deck, go watch my previous video. Okay, you're still here, so you want to be a better Magic player? Good. Desiring to improve is the most important aspect of progression. We're going to start with the basic math involved in keeping a hand. No pen and paper needed. You can remember this. Here is the simple formula. You need to have 5 cards that have an interaction in your opening hand. What does that mean? Well, if you have 3 lands in your starting hand, you need to have 2 spells that can be cast for that 3 mana. Please note, this includes having the correct mana colors to cast those spells. If you have 2 mana in your starting hand, you must have 3 spells that can be cast for that specific combination of 2 mana. Do not take opening hands if you think, but all I need is this 1 land. Don't do it. Assume you will not draw the land needed. Always plan on the worst thing happening, because it will more often than not. Murphy's Law is baked into the Arena Code. As with all guidelines, there are caveats. But that is the basic rule of thumb. Depending on how aggressive or reactive your deck is, you will need to make adjustments to this equation. But before we get into those exceptions, please be aware. You need to adjust this rule with each mulligan taken. If you are keeping 6 cards, you will need 4 cards that interact, lands plus spells. If you mulligan twice, you need 3 cards, or better stated, 1 spell that can be cast. If you have to mulligan twice and start with 5 cards, winning's going to be very difficult. If you must mulligan 3 times, just concede the match and move on. If this is happening too often, you'll need to adjust your deck. Also, no matter how low your mana curve is, never keep a 1 land opening hand. I repeat, never keep a 1 land opening hand. Now, before we show you some in-game examples, let's go over what cards to get rid of after taking a mulligan. The most obvious card to get rid of is the highest mana cost spell. If you have a spell over 4 mana, regardless of how powerful it is, that card should be the one that you get rid of. If you draw 4 lands in your mulligan hand, you can easily get rid of 1 of them. If you have 3 lands when keeping 6 cards, once again, use the formula to determine if you can get rid of a land. Do those 4 cards interact? Can 2 spells be cast for 2 mana and there are no high cost spells? If so, you might want to get rid of 1 of the lands. Once again, depends on the deck. Okay. What are the exceptions to this mathematical rule? First off, if you have 3 lands in your starting hand, you should keep it. The only reason to toss a 3 land opening hand is if every spell is over 5 mana, or possibly bad duplicates that pretend a horrible run of draws. What does that mean? Well, the shuffler groups cards together to smooth out the opening hand. You'll probably see duplicates and triplicates more often than statistics warrant. That is because of the way the algorithm is coded. If you have 2 lands in an opening hand, you will draw fewer lands. If you have 4 or more lands in an opening hand, you will draw more lands. This is against statistics, yes, but it is how the shuffler algorithm is coded. 3 lands is the G spot for the shuffler. Treat it with respect. I know that someone is typing a heated, but variance bro, comment. Stop. Random does not exist in computer code, only patterns. The Arena Shuffler is not real random. It's a manipulated algorithm that groups cards together. Don't believe that? Well, I've got a get-rich scheme that you just can't pass up. Send me $2,000 deposit for prime real estate in Florida. All jokes aside, you can support me for free with a like and a subscribe. Now, for the exceptions to the rule, this math equation is fungible based on the deck and spell types. If you have a deck with a lot of card draw, you might be more inclined to keep a 2-mana opening hand, provided you have 2 spells that can be cast for those 2 mana, and one of those spells will draw you a card, curate the deck, scry, or grab you a land. On the screen are some examples of cards in different colors, which can help you make an exception to the 5-card interaction rule. But at the end of the day, you need to stick to the formula more than your gut. We all lean towards wanting to keep hands that have our strongest cards. That is a trap. Do not fall for the setup. When you get that opening hand with all of your bombs, but yet none of the spells can be cast unless you draw a couple lands, abandon ship, hit the mulligan button. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Run for the hills. Think of the Shuffler as an angry ex whose only purpose in life is to make you angry. The Shuffler is not your friend, it is your rival. Wait. I forgot that most Magic players won't know what an ex is. Think of the Shuffler as your mom's abusive boyfriend who gets off on spanking you. There is no amount of, yes, dad, that will make him love you. He's just a psychopath who likes beating children. Stop thinking the Shuffler will be nice to you. Just like your abusive stepdad, the Shuffler enjoys making you cry. Treat it with disdain and respect its deviousness, and you will be able to play more games. Now, let's get into some real in-game examples to further expound on this theory. We'll show an aggro deck and then contrast with a control deck. If you want to watch me play live with my original decks, go to twitch.tv/DamianGeppetto and give me a follow. Thank you for your support. All right, so you've stuck around. We've got some examples of opening hands for you of both aggro and control type decks so you can get a better grasp of this mathematical concept of 5 interactive cards in your opening hand. First off, we're going to start with the aggro deck. This original deck we have for you here is called Thrilling Encounters version 3. As you can see, there's only 3 mana or less in the cards, and there's a total of 22 lands in the deck. If you want the full breakdown, go check it out in the upper corner. We've got that full video there of an 11-game win streak. You can cast every card for 3. Ideally, you want 4 mana in order to do all of the combos. And we're not going to show you the gameplay. It's just going to be quick cuts of a few opening hands, whether I mulligan, why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is going to be a quick breakdown so you can pound it into your skulls here what this formula is, what the 5 interactive cards mean, how it actually looks in-game. First off, we go 3 lands, both colors. We got 2 mana, 1 mana, 3 mana, 3 mana. Obviously, that's a keep. Let's queue up again, and let's see if this hand is worthy of keeping. Once again, that was an ideal hand we had, and it led to absolute destruction. My opponent did nothing. That's why you play aggro. Quick, fast, easy wins, or quick scoots out of the game. So let's check out this one. All right, this is one where we got to think about it. We have 2 lands, but we have both colors. We got a 1 mana spell here, 2 mana, 1 mana, 1 mana. So 4 of my 5 spells can be cast for that 2 mana. This is a keep. Well, that was another victory. It was not as easy as the first one, but we won the game. So let's queue up again and see if we've got finally a hand to toss away. Now with an aggro deck, you're going to toss away less hands than a control deck. This is an obvious toss away. Doesn't matter that all the spells are 2 mana. We've got 2 mountains. We don't have any plains. I can only cast a Kumano and the Agatha's Soul Cauldron. This is mulligan, obviously. Boom, second hand, perfect. I've got my combo right here. I got 2 manas. Yes, we're gonna keep this one. Now, I did say that you want to get rid of the 3 mana spell, and that's what we're gonna do. Because we got 2 mana, I'm not gonna guarantee that we draw the 3 mana. There's 4 Thrill Seekers in this deck. It is the key to the deck, but if I don't have it in my starting hand, I'm fine. Okay, so my opponent woke up, and like I said, we get rid of the Thrill Seeker, we call it a day. As you can see, it's much simpler to keep the hands when you have an aggro deck. When you got 3 mana or less in all your spells, it's a lot easier. See? We got 2 mana, okay? We got both colors. 1 mana? Nope, nope, nope. I've got 3 interactive cards here. I do not have 5. I need to draw a land to guarantee to play 4 of my cards. That is what I call a trap hand. Do not fall for it. Mulligan. Move on. Look at this. We've got a hand. 1, 1, 2, 2, and a 3 mana. Now, normally I say get rid of the 3 mana, but because Anim is just an instant win in the deck, I am going to decide to get rid of one of the Dusk Legions. We're going to keep this, and we'll get rid of one of the Dusk Legions. And then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, here we go. Here's another hand. obvious keep. We've got 3 lands. Everything in the deck is 3 mana or less. 3 lands, both colors, keep it. Let's show you one more, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the control deck. I think you're getting the grasp of what this 5 interactive cards in an opening hand means, and then 4 in the Mulligan hand. You're starting to get it. So once again, this is a toss away. I got 2 mountains. Sure, I could cast 3 scamps. Okay, so this is where you have to go. You need both mana. I don't want to run with just 3 scamps. I want both mana, so I'm gonna Mulligan. Boom. Now I've got 3 lands. This is a tough decision. We got a 3 mana card. We got 3 lands. Which one do we get rid of? Do we get rid of one of the lands, or do we get rid of the Anim? I am going to actually get rid of the Loren's Escape. I'm going to keep the 3 lands, and we're going to get rid of the Loren's Escape because it's just protection on the creatures. And see, this is where you have to sometimes make a decision. Yes, Anim is the highest mana, but it's such a strong card, and I can go without the Loren's Escape and possibly win the game. Okay, folks, that was another victory, and the reason I won was because my opponent didn't follow my rule. They kept a 1-land opening hand. They missed land drop on turn 2, and I'm an aggro deck. I was so wide, smashed their face. Turn 3, Anim comes out. They're dead. They conceded with 15 life left because they played with 1 land in an opening hand. Don't do that. Don't do that. I got a victory because my opponent does not know this secret little formula that all the pros use. Now, let's transition here, and we'll go into an Azorius control deck and show you the differences in how you keep your hands. Now, like I said before, control decks, you're going to probably be mulliganing a lot more than these aggro decks. Next video is going to be about this deck. This is a great starting hand. We have 3 lands. I've got 2 dual-sided, a Mirex, Get Lost, Flanker, Deduce. Chameel is my highest mana card. Yeah, I'll keep the Chimichanga. We're going to keep this 7. That's fine. Now, I have not shown you the deck breakdown on this Azorius because that is the next video we've got coming to you. It will actually be a deck building video. I will show you how I actually build the deck and what I do to tweak it and make it better. So we're going to just show you a couple more of these opening hands. We did 6 with the aggro deck. We're going to do 6 with this deck as well. This is just so you can get this formula in your head. 5 cards that interact in your opening hand, if not mulligan, and then it's 4 cards that interact. Once again, we got 3 mana. That's the perfect spot. All I need is 2 spells, and I've got 3. I've got 6 cards that interact. The only thing that I can't cast from my opening hand if I draw no land is the Wandering Emperor. But I have a Deduce that can draw me cards. So, I mean, this is a keep. This is a keep all day. You need to have a good start to the game. That's the key. So this will be the 3rd one with this control, and then we'll do 3 more. That's 6 with each of them. You can always hit me up on my streams if you got any further questions, but this is an obvious get rid of. 2 Mirexes is not even worth playing. Boom, gone. Now we got 3 lands, we got both colors and a Mirex, we got 2 Get Lost, a Flanker, and a Wandering Emperor. I'm gonna get rid of one of the Get Lost because the Emperor is key to the deck. I'm gonna assume that I can hopefully draw an extra one because it's a dupe. See, once again, duplicates you could get rid of. Like, I have 1 control, that's fine. Let's hope that we can get to that 4th land. All right, you missed a slugfest. That was a good long 20-minute game that you just missed out on, but we got the victory. Let's show a few more of these opening hands here, and we can go ahead and finish off this video. All right, this opening hand has 4 lands. Now, it's a control deck. I got 2 No More Lies and a Sunfall. This is a keep from a control deck because I got a Demolition Field, which can help me shuffle up the deck if we're drawing all land and not drawing anything else. Plus, all we need is 1 more land to get the Sunfall in case it's against a creature deck. This is definitely a keeper for a control deck. All right, once again, great starting hand. We got a No More Lies, we got a Chrome Host. That's all we need. We got 3 lands and 2 spells we can cast. The Wandering Emperor's for 4, Sunfall for 5. We got 2, 3, 4, 5 mana play. This is perfect. All right, we just got another victory. Yep, that means at least 50-50. We got 3 wins, 2 losses with this deck. Let's get into the last opening hand for you to see. So this is the last and final example of an opening hand mulligan option to go over this formula. I hope you get it by now. Like I said, you can always hit me up. I stream every night on Twitch. You can find me there, or you can just leave a comment in the comment section here. Just ask me any direct question. I respond to all the comments that are not just straight insult. Thank you again for watching this video. This is the final example we have for you of whether or not to keep an opening hand. Okay, this one is straightforward. I've got 1 island. I count this as a plains and a demolition field. We got 1 of each. So we got 3 lands. We got a 2 mana spell, a 2 mana spell that also draws us a card. So even though we have the formula here, if I had 2, I probably would keep this with the Get Lost and the Deduce because we've got 4 mana draw card and this is just a wipe. Once again, 5 interactive cards, plus I got card draw, icing on the cake. Thank you again. Have yourselves a wonderful day.